Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Hi today and welcome back to Healthy Living. Tonight's topic is genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. Are they really dangerous to our health? With all the answers is ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom.
Hi, Isa.
So, Doc, for people who don't know, what are GMOs?
Well, like you said, they're genetically modified, scientifically created foods, usually foods. There have been animals also that have been genetically modified. But basically, scientists will take some part of the DNA of one organism and put it into another that are completely unrelated. So you can take a little piece of a virus or a little piece of a bacteria and stick that into, let's say, corn or soy or a pig, for example, and change the qualities of that plant or animal.
Okay, so why would scientists try to mix and match these different organisms?
Right, it's a mix and match. Great word. So why would they do that? Well, ever since agriculture began, humans have tried to create better crops. That's normal, and we all want that. But we do it through hybridization, where you let's say with animals you might mate two together, or with plants you grow certain crops together to select out the best ones and so on, and you get a very wonderful tomato or whatever it is that you're trying to create. But that takes generations of plants or animals and some experimenting. But instead, you can do it very quickly and easily now because, for example, scientists might have discovered that a certain bacterium produces a protein which creates a resistance to a certain chemical. Now you have, let's say, a crop of corn. You want to be able to spray that corn with pesticides, but not kill the corn, but kill all the bugs and kill everything else around it. So you will create the corn with a resistance to the pesticide. So you can grow the corn, it's going to be stronger and bigger and better, and you're going to be able to pour lots of pesticide on it, kill all the other living things around it, but not the corn. That's one major reason. So to answer your question, some of the reasons for creating GMOs are to create a better crop, a more pest-resistant crop, and also to increase things like shelf life, so you can harvest sooner and put it on, transport or whatever.
Interesting. It seems like it has definitely a lot of uses.
Yes.
So one of our viewers is asking, what is the difference between genetically engineered crops and plants altered through natural hybridization processes?
Right. So when you're growing plants and you're selecting out the best plants and breeding them together and so on, then you're using the same kind of plant. It's in the same kind of species. But here you're taking something completely different. You're taking, let's say, a bacteria or virus and putting it into a plant. Those are completely different species and even orders. And then you might even take something from a plant and place it into an animal, genetic material. So you're really altering what that essential genetic material is. And what we know about genes is that they don't just do their own thing. They don't just make a protein. They also affect the other genes around them. So you don't really know the effect of what's happening. It may be safe, but truth is no one really knows.
Okay. So that's the big question that I think a lot of people have. And I know it's a really controversial issue.
Yeah.
You see it, online, on the news, on social media. So from your perspective, what are the health effects of GMOs?
Well, it's completely impossible to say on humans, let's say. There are some health effects on other animals. For example, a certain crop of corn that expressed this one protein was found to kill butterfly larvae. So that corn was growing great, but it was actually killing butterflies. So who knows what it could do to people, right? So 26 countries have currently banned GMOs altogether, and about 60 other countries have restrictions on GMOs, but not the United States. We have no restrictions and no labeling, so we really don't know. And right now, about 94% of our soy crop is GMO. About almost 90% of our corn is GMO, lots of our dairy, sugar, canola, things that we have in our regular foods and that we feed to we even export have GMOs.
Yes, I know that I think Hawaii recently passed a non-GMO law, so they're trying not to include any GMOs there. So it seems like they're really common, but
Yes.
or if you're saying 90%, 94%.
They're extremely common. It's just sort of happened before lawmakers really had a chance to catch up with what was really happening. So like in Hawaii, this is the papaya crop that was GMO because the papaya was being wiped out in Hawaii, so they wouldn't have had any papaya. So they modified it. Now they have papaya, but it's GMO. So yeah.
If you're walking through the grocery store and you're getting soybeans or something, it's really likely that it's going to be probably a GMO product, but is there any way to know?
No, in the United States, there's no way to know. In other countries, they require labeling. So like Switzerland, Australia, places like that. But in the United States, we have no idea. So unless you're getting your food online or getting it from somewhere, you would have no idea. Then you're like, well, okay, maybe I'll grow my own. But even your seeds, depending where the seeds have come from, may also be GMO.
Okay, so what about environmental effects? Are there any known or major environmental effects from GMOs?
Well, again, it's just so early. This has all been happening just in the last 10 to 15 years, but really in the last 10 years that this has just exploded. So what are the environmental effects? Well, one big one is that, again, as I was mentioning earlier, if you're growing, let's say, use the example of corn that is resistant to pesticides. Now you can put a lot more pesticides on that area. The corn is going to survive, but the pesticide is still there. So now the humans may perhaps be exposed to more pesticides, or just the pesticide goes into the water runoff or whatever, and it can affect other creatures. So this is just so early. You know, environmental things take many years, sometimes generations, to find out what's really happened, and it may become even impossible to know what's happened because there are so many modifications that have happened all at once.
All right, thanks so much, Doc.
You're
We'll
welcome.
answer more of your questions when we return. Keep it here.